Welcome to Public House, intimate conversations with people making a difference in the Hudson Valley. And now, from Paula's Public House in Poughkeepsie, New York, here's Paula Young.
Hi everyone, I'm Paula Young. Welcome to this episode of Public House. Today in my chair we have Bob LaColla, who is the supervisor of the town of Fishkill in Dutchess County. Welcome, Bob. How are you?
Great.
I know you from when you used to be supervisor and still are of Fishkill when I had Paula's Wine Bar.
Yeah, right in the village.
On Main Street. And Fishkill has, when I was there was often a little bit of pushback because Fishkill was on the cusp of becoming, and there was a little pushback from some folks in the town who wanted it to be the sleepy village it was. We are still on the cusp of becoming even more under your leadership. You're up for office.
Yes.
And the words I hear from everyone is, we love Bob LaColla, nice guy, but he's too quiet. He doesn't tell people what he's done. He doesn't tell people about his accomplishments. So tell me, why should anybody vote for you, Bob LaColla?
Well, yeah, it's been an interesting ride. I came to this as a public service, not as a career choice. I was a volunteer on the planning board, saw things were a little upside down in the town, got a seat on the town board, found that I couldn't affect the changes needed, so ran for the office of supervisor. When I got in, we were one of the 4 worst municipalities in New York State in terms of finances. We had a deficit that was equal to 50% of our budget.
What year was that?
That was in 2012.
So that's only 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So in 7 years, you've accomplished quite a bit.
Yeah, we put together an 8-year plan to turn that around. We got it done in 4. There was a lot of foregone maintenance because the town had no money. There were labor issues, you know, all the nonsense that comes with fiscal stress. So we've been able to turn all of that around. Things have settled down. We've been incredibly lucky with some of the folks that came on board to help. We've been lucky with our hires. The folks that stuck around.
You're not lucky with your hires. You're lucky with the candidates and the smartness that you hired them. It's not luck, really.
Well, you know, it's having the right people available at the right time.
And
also.
having the foresight to see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the other folks that stuck around, the other department heads really turned it around. I think they weren't given the opportunity to exercise leadership. They have that now, and they've been doing great. You know, we've found efficiencies. Anytime something changes in town, we have this habit of looking hard at it and saying, is the process in place still effective? Is there an opportunity to change things, eliminate aspects, add more, change the staffing? We really try to take a hard look to make sure that we're looking at what we have in front of us and projecting for the next few years to make sure that we have a good
Okay, so you were
process in place.
7 years ago, you were at the bottom. Where are you now?
We're doing very well. There's no more fiscal stress. We've been out of that for the past 3 years. The New York State Comptroller's Office will rate all the municipalities on fiscal stress every year. We've been at or near zero for the past several years.
That's a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
And yet, people don't know it because you are in a race, and I am told it's a very tight race. Mm-hmm. Your competitor is coming in as a fresh face, and fresh faces are great. Doesn't necessarily mean they have the breadth and width and depth of knowledge to be able to take on a big job. This is a big job. You've kind of made it okay. You've brought it to a good point. Tell me what you would now do if reelected to continue on that, to build on that.
Well, if I can touch on, you know, the comparison you started to make. I've been a student of management and leadership my entire life. I've run condominium projects that have budgets that are much larger than the town's budget. When I got involved, it's almost 20 years ago, I got involved with the town's comprehensive plan committee. Then I spent 4 years on the planning board, 4 years on the town board. I took advantage of any educational opportunity that was available. Courses through the Department of State, the New York State Comptroller's Office, Pace Land Use Law Center.
Just so that you would have more information on how to do things.
Right.
Okay.
What the law was, proper procedure, available opportunities. And I can tell you, with all my business experience and all that educational opportunity and being around the town government, exercising some responsibility for 8 years, I was still nervous taking that seat. There's a lot to know. There's a lot you need to understand because at the end of the day, the job is to bring people together and get decisions together.
Sometimes when you take something and you make it better, people sort of say, oh, that's great, and then they take it for granted. They don't realize the work involved. Even opening a business and building it up. people just presume it's easy. It's not easy.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, there's organizational management, there's finance considerations, there's compliance issues that you have to deal with. It's the same thing at the local level, with a component that's a little odd because sometimes if you're not efficient, you can just raise the tax rate.
Right.
We've tried to bring that private sector view in where we're looking at analytics, we're looking at performance standards, we're looking at specs. How are we doing it? Why are we doing it? What's the best way to do it?
You're doing the job, from my view, correctly, and you're doing the job efficiently. And I think the wave of partisan politics in this county, in this nation, is kind of fueling debates, I think, unfortunately, because voting for someone simply because they have a D by their name or an R by their name is foolhardy, in my opinion. I think you have to vote for the person who does the job best. And you work in a bipartisan manner. You've always worked with everyone who's brought you the issues. So again, I'm going to ask, what is it that you're planning to do, if reelected, that will continue the upward rising of Fishkill?
Well, keep in mind, there's a lot of things that have been started. And one thing you need in government, if you want to get anything done, is patience.
Consistency and patience. Yes, true,
So,
and consistency.
If you look at, say, a trails project that we're working on now, the Hudson Fjord Trails Project, we've gotten close to $1 million in state funding. We have a private pledge of upwards of $20 million for this project. We've got 18 different agencies around the table, from Metro North, DEC, Riverkeepers, Scenic Hudson, Hudson Highlands Land Trust, Phillipstown, Putnam County, Dutchess County, the City of Beacon, the Village of Cold Spring, all working together. Now, keeping everybody at the table with all the oars going in the same direction takes work. It
Oh,
takes
no kidding.
Facilitation. Yeah, it takes management. We want to continue to see those things through. Now, the town of Fishkill has taken a leadership position in that. A lot of it has to do with my construction background.
Okay, yeah, well, you're at the apex of those two towns, Cold Spring, Phillipstown, and Beacon. You're right there.
But in terms of leading that charge, the town of Fishkill actually has the lead on that huge project. We've got the first leg of it.
Because of your construction background?
I think that's how it evolved, but it became kind of a natural place. It's for traffic calming, parking, some trailhead improvement, replacing the platforms for Metro North. They can get upwards of 500 people getting off a single train.
Right.
And they've got these very small platforms. It's not working well. So getting those improvements in place just to handle the problems that exist today
Right.
needs to be done
Okay,
right away.
and
So we're working on that.
And that's basically, you don't have a train. Beacon and Cold Spring do. You don't have the train.
There's a whistle, they call it a flag stop.
Right.
But
which is,
there's certain stops for hikers where it stops there and,
right.
lets
But
them
let's just say we're not a hiker.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say we're just a resident of Fishkill. Why should I vote for you?
Well, one thing is we've been able to get a lot done. We have a lot of capital program. Keep in mind, you mentioned the D's and the R's. At the local level, we do streets, we do pipes that are in the streets, we do policing, we've got to ensure water quality, we've got to process sewage. It's all fairly pedestrian stuff. It's service. It's ensuring the value of your property by making sure the connections that you have to the city services remain sound.
So you've made it
cost-effective.
a safer and more solid place to live.
I think so. We've increased our police and done it without raising costs. Plus, we have a significant rainy day fund now, which allows us to take advantage of deals as they come along. So the first 4 years were really restoring the budget. Then the next few years we've spent building a project team. So we have a 3-member project team, we have a project accountant. So now we can process that foregone maintenance, taking care of those plants that need remediation, replacing those pipes that are aged out. Those are big projects.
So basically, you took it when it was a mess, you shook it up, you've made it better, now you want to build on that.
Right.
Now, I think that doing some big capital stuff that's shiny, because people want to see razzle dazzle, they want to see. People don't really look and think about the pipes underground.
No, they don't.
They want to see the big buildings, the flags, the light posts. So I've talked to you a million times about this. Get IKEA in that empty lot by the highway. Anyhow,
We actually are looking at Dutchess Community College.
Well, there you go. Now you
and
do that and people will see. I think you've done great work. I've actually been sort of a witness to it. And I'm glad you came in. I'm glad you talked a little bit about what it is you have done. Because folks, you know, if you're not out there glad handing, unfortunately in our society today, people go to the shiny.
Yeah,
They think the new is going to be new and improved, not always.
But you know, one of the things that's great about Fishkill is it's got a really, really vibrant and invested volunteer community.
Yes.
With the Rotary, firehouses, ambulance corps, those people get it. They understand what it takes to maintain a community.
Right.
They're part of that community fabric. So while you do get the shiny at the federal level, I've seen at the local level where I want to say a majority of the people really understand that
Right.
it takes work, it takes investment, and it isn't always about, hey, look at me.
Yeah.
It's, hey, let's look at the work.
Look
and
at
make
what
sure
the
we
work.
get
So
it
you're
done.
shining in a different way. You're kind of shining in a deep way. I am an independent. I was a Democrat. I'm an independent now. I'm not interviewing you and having you tell me about things because I want to be a partisan. I think it's because you've done a great job. So
Thank you.
I just wanted to say that. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you for
me.
listening. Bob LaColla is open to phone calls. You can reach him. If you have any interest in finding out what he's done and what the plans are, I'm sure you would answer those questions.
831-7800, extension 3309.
Got that. All right. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you again on Public House. Thank you very much, Bob. This is interesting.
This is great.
Hi, I'm Paula Young, and I'm the proprietor here of Paula's Public House. Do join me for good food, good cheer, and good fellowship. We are here, we have fun, and we'd love to have you be a part of it. Come on down.